knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Purport: the living entity, while executing devotional service or transcendental rituals after many births, may actually become situated in transcendental pure knowledge that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate goal of spiritual realization. In the beginning of spiritual realization, while one is trying to give up one's attachment to materialism, there is some leaning towards impersonalism, but when one is further advanced, he can understand that there are activities in the spiritual life and that these activities constitute devotional service. Realizing this, he becomes attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and surrenders to Him. At such a time, one can understand that Lord Shri Krishna's mercy is everything, that He is the cause of all causes, and that this material manifestation is not independent from Him. He realized the material world to be a perverted reflection of spiritual variegatedness, and realizes that in everything there is a relationship with the Supreme Lord Krishna. Thus he thinks of everything in relationship to Vasudeva or Shri Krishna. Such a universal vision of Vasudeva precipitates one's full surrender to the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna as the highest goal. Such surrendered great souls are very rare. This verse is very nicely explained in the 3rd chapter, verses 14 and 15 of the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. Sahasrashirsha Purushah Sahasrakshah Sahasrapat Sabhumim Vishvato Vritva Tyatishtad Dashanugulam Purusha Evadam Sarvam Yad Bhutam Yascha Bhavyam Utamritat Vasyeshano Yad Anenaritorati. In the Chandogya Upanishad 5:1-15, it is said, Navaivacho na chakshushmi, na shrotrani na manam situ, achakshate prana iti eva chakshate prano hyevaiti sarvani bhavanti. In the body of living being, neither the power to speak, nor the power to see, nor the power to hear, nor the power to think is the prime factor. It is life which is the center of all activities. Similarly, Lord Vasudeva, or the Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna, is the prime entity in everything. In this body there are powers of speaking, of seeing, of hearing, of mental activities, etc. But these are not important if not related to the Supreme Lord. And because Vasudeva is all-pervading and everything is Vasudeva, the devotee surrenders in full knowledge. Chapter Bhagavad Gita 7:17 and 11:40. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanam mam prapadyate Vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabhaha. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Om Gyanati Mirandasya Ganajana Shaka Shakshura Miltam Yena Tasma Shigurave Hamha. Namaste Krishna Prashtaya Butlash Mate Bhakti Kash Swami Nityamne. Namaste Krishna Prashtaya Butlash Mate Bhakti Vanta Swami Tinam Naste Saraswata Deve Gorani Pracharya Nirushesh Shunyadi Pashtishtarne. So at the end of this purport, Srila Prabhupada said that one who has full knowledge, he surrenders to Krishna, and he referred to the 7:17 where it is said the same thing. The one who is in full knowledge and who is always engaged in pure devotional service is the best. For I am very dear to him and he is dear to me. And Prabhupada also refers to the 11:40, just a second, where after Arjuna have seen universal form, he glorifies Krishna as everything. Arjuna said, obeisances to you from the front, from behind, and from all sides. It's all unbound power. You are the master of limitless might. You are all-pervading, and thus you are everything. So these 6 middle chapters, from 7th chapter till 12th chapter, inside is the most confidential knowledge about Krishna. And Krishna said in this 7th chapter, there are material energy, there are living beings, and actually I'm the source of all of them. And he lists also 4 kinds of people who are not inclined to spiritual life, and 4 kind of people who are very much interested in spiritual life. And he concludes, one who has full knowledge, he can understand that I am everything. And in this verse he particularly stresses that such a great soul is very rare. Today we heard from Ramananda Prabhu that to find a spiritual master is a very rare thing in material world. So he gives a comparison when there is a vast ocean, and inside the ocean there are turtles. So turtles from time to time he needs to take air, so he has to go on surface. And if there is on the surface of the vast ocean just some wood with some hole inside that wood, and if just turtle hits the hole in that wood, it's very rare, it's practically impossible because the ocean is vast. But he said that's the also probability one's have in his life to find spiritual master, to find pure soul. And Krishna says in the beginning of this chapter the similar verse, Manushyanam Sahasreshu, out of many thousands men, hardly one knows me. And here he also repeats. Now we can ask ourselves, Krishna said, chapter 9 is especially entitled with most confidential knowledge, but these 6 middle chapters, they are all very confidential knowledge about Krishna. So one can ask himself, if this is very confidential, then how it is widely distributed? We distribute daily many thousands of these books. Prabhupada was proud, actually. He very often quoted in India how much books we are selling daily, how much money from selling books we are earning. So he was proud that Bhagavad Gita was distributed in millions. So we can ask ourselves, something what is confidential, you will not share with others widely. If it's confidential, you will say to your wife or closest friend, you will not distribute that, propagate that. So then how that knowledge can be confidential? So that's why we need Guru, because Guru will explain the confidentiality in Bhagavad Gita. Otherwise we can be completely confused. We can see in one verse, Krishna says, soul is never born, nahanyate hanyamane sharire. Then just after a few verses he will say to Arjuna, me and you, we are born very many times. So we can be confused with such knowledge. And then Krishna also says, don't bother about glory and infamy. But on another verse he will say, fight because of sake of fighting, you will be victorious, you will get glory. So apparently some contradictions we can see in Krishna's words, and that's why we need Guru who will explain us that Krishna sometimes speaks from different angles, so that the matter can be understood thoroughly. So you see in the war you have also this, when one soldier has some secret message to another part of the army. So then they have some codes, and then you have to decipher that code. So if this soldier who is carrying message is caught by another party, by enemies, they will not be able to understand what is said inside that code, because it's code. But at least they will know this is some confidential message. So even above that is something which is widely distributed, but no one can understand that this is confidential. And that's why Bhagavad Gita must be studied under the guidance of authority, under the guidance of guru and senior disciples of that guru. Otherwise, we can be confused. And that's why Krishna says in this chapter, such soul is very rare, who knows me thoroughly, who knows me completely. Of course, nobody can know Krishna completely, but to know Krishna to some degree, to some level, he said that's very, very rare soul. So he uses in this verse the word sudurlabham. So durlabha means something which is very rare, but what is sudurlabha, that is even more rare, this su. We can find this also when Krishna says Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam susukam. This process is performed by very great happiness, susukam, not just sukam, susukam. Or we can find in second chapter when he said svalpamapya, sualpam, svalpamapya sudurvasya, even small endeavor, smallest on this path can deliver the person. So similarly, he said this knowledge is Rajaguyam, very confidential, he said in 9th chapter. So then how we can understand this confidential knowledge? That's the question. If this is so confidential, how we can understand that? If we are living in some well, how we can understand great vast ocean? This is not possible by our endeavor. It must be done with the help of someone who already has that knowledge, and we have to accept that knowledge. And that's very often quoted, Prabhupada's anecdote about the frog in the well, how he can, if he do not accept source from outside, he never can understand how much vast is ocean. So that's why this knowledge is very confidential, and why the soul who can understand this knowledge is very rare. So the main disease of modern man, I'm coming from medical field, so I noticed two diseases modern man has. One is that he has, I don't have time for this. So Krishna, but just because of that, Krishna put the sin in the middle of the war. So Arjuna had time. He found time to listen philosophy when it was the least expected. You do not expect before the war that someone will listen philosophy. Another disease is that many people say, I already know God. I don't need this. So if you come in class and the first sentence which you will say to your teacher, I know the matter, that's immediately disqualification that he will teach you. If you already know, then why you are here? That's the question. And Prabhupada was actually satisfied with Western disciples who admitted we do not know Krishna, but whatever you say, we accept. We accept. And some Indians, even today, many of them, they say, I know Bhagavad Gita, I know Krishna. And that's immediately disqualification, because who can say that he knows Krishna? Krishna said, Bahunam Janmanam, Samahatma Sudurlabhaha. That's the very rare soul. We can actually find in Bhagavatam the quote from Lord Brahma, which I have here prepared. So Brahma is the most intelligent person in the whole universe. So Brahma said in 2nd chapter, although I am known as great Brahma, perfect in the disciple succession of Vedic wisdom, and although I have undergone all austerities, and I am an expert in mystic powers and self-realization, and although I am recognized as such by the great forefathers of the living entities who offer me respectful obeisances, still I cannot understand him, the Lord, the very source of my birth. So we can see this is the sign of intelligence, that the most intelligent person, he say, I don't know Krishna. He knows so many things about Krishna. He is our Acharya. We are part of Brahma Gaudiya Sampradaya. But he, out of his humility, he said, I don't know him. And we can see from some instances when he has stolen these boys in Krishna Lila. Krishna showed him, I am much higher than you can imagine. You cannot imagine what the vast ocean. We first have to accept that we are so tiny and teeny little living entities. What we can understand, Another similarly, in 10th chapter, Brahma also said, there are people who say, I know everything about Krishna. Let them think that way. As far as I am concerned, I don't wish to speak very much about this matter. Oh my Lord, let me say this much. As far as your opulences are concerned, they are all beyond the reach of my mind, body and words. So in this verse, Brahma said, not that I do not know you, but I don't know even your opulences, So this chapter is titled also Knowledge about Absolute, and Absolute is explaining his opulences. He said there are material energies, there are living entities, and I am source of everything. And the soul who can understand all that in details is actually very rare. Now, we are all social beings. It's much easier to us to join somewhere where we see that many people are interested in that matter. It's very difficult actually to be one, alone. And that's why I always, when I think about these first Prabhupada disciples, they are great actually, because they recognize this is genuine spiritual master, and no matter that we are alone, he is teaching us actually genuine thing. And they joined, and they couldn't imagine how much this epidemic will spread. And news reporters also had the tendency to ask how many members you have in society, and then try to disqualify this process by saying there are not so many people who can accept your way of thinking or your teachings. And Prabhupada quoted Shastra. He said, on the sky there are millions of stars, but one moon is much more valuable and important than millions of stars. We do not think about in terms of statistics. Prabhupada also gave example, if one wants to sell gold or gems, it will not be many customers, But does that mean that the gems are not valuable? No, they are so much valuable that because of that there are not so many customers. So Prabhupada taught us very nicely about these things, and when we think about from different angles about such knowledge, then this knowledge is always fresh, Yeah, it's true. It's not easy to follow this process. It requires much sincerity. You cannot, disguise and feign. It's difficult. It needs to be 100% in the process. Thanks. So in this world, if you talk about football in the West, then you will have many customers. They will discuss on different forum, internets. Or in East, if you talk about cricket, same thing. There was just recently in my country some rock concert. Around 15 to 20 all population came in the capital to be part of that rock concert. But if you talk about Krishna, if you talk about where we are going, what's our destiny, what we are doing in this life, then it will not be so much customers. And that's why Krishna says, this soul is very rare. So now we can ask ourselves, in purport it says, in everything there is a relationship with Supreme Lord Krishna. So Krishna immediately related all his material energy with him. He said, I'm source of this material energy. And as I said, we can see from different angles this material energy. And Prabhupada many times said, this is like a jail for conditioned soul, this material energy. And there are much suffering in this jail, because jail has correctional purpose, that you understand, I'm criminal. And Krishna also said there are many suffering in this world. What's the verse? Durlabham, forgot. This world is temporary and full of suffering. Ashashvatam, something. Dukhalayam ashashvatam. He says. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, our Acharya, he said, this world is like, full of suffering. If you want to analyze mine of salt, under the earth they are digging salt somewhere. So wherever you lick, it will be salty, because it's mine of salt. So similarly, this world is full of suffering. Another Acharya said, Prabodhananda Saraswati, I don't see suffering. Everything is happiness. Whatever we use is for Krishna, we are immediately connected that thing with Krishna, and we are serving Krishna with that things, and that's the source of happiness. So obviously, both sentences are true, because it's a different angle. So if we analyze Gita also with such different angles, then it's always fresh. We cannot say, I know Bhagavad Gita. And Krishna says in this verse, everything is related with me. So if you use that in Krishna's service, then it will be source of happiness. So this life is a rare chance that we can actually understand. We do not possess anything, neither bank account, neither house, neither this body. This all belongs to Krishna. And if we connect all these with Krishna, then this will be a source of happiness. And this chance is very rare in human life. That's why human life is very valuable. So similarly, we can ask ourselves, is it to understand God very difficult or easy? And we have both quotes actually in Prabhupada books. We have here, actually it's very rare. What's very rare, it's difficult. Otherwise, why is rare? But Prabhupada so many times also said, it's easy to understand Krishna. Krishna is God, I am soul, He is all powerful, I am tiny. And what's the problem to understand that? You know. So such things can be analyzed from different angles. But most people are confused. They are waiting in the queue to get this human body, you know, and finally when they got the body, they are confused, they do not know what to do, and they want to enjoy separately from Krishna. But this is a rare chance to finally get our constitutional position as a servant of Krishna. So, if you are waiting very long time in some queue, and finally shopkeeper asks you, what do you want? And he said, I don't know. Then, you know, why you waited so long? And this human body is not easy to get. This is like a boat which can be used to cross the ocean. So similarly in Bhagavad Gita also we have, because Krishna is playing the role of conditioned souls who is confused, who is suffering this matter. He's playing our role. Yeah, I said Krishna, Arjuna, yes. Arjuna is playing our position. And when everything is ready for fight, and when we read Mahabharata, he knows in details history of that fight. But when the fight is about to start, Arjuna asks Bhagavad Gita, please, can you drive my chariot on another side, just to see who is on other side? Why he should see other side? He knows in detail who is on other side. Because he's playing role of confused jiva, you know. And he purposely said, Krishna, Madhusudana, please, can you drive my chariot? Because, yeah, he said Govinda, Rishikesha. And Acharyas explained he purposely misuses philosophy because he wants to say, Madhava, you are the husband of goddess of fortune. Why you are putting me in this stressful condition? And you, Govinda, you are servant, Govinda, of senses. But now you do not serve me. You are master of senses, but now you are putting my senses in distress. So he's playing a role of conditioned soul because of us. So we can learn our position. And we can see in this also verse how Krishna purposely used this Vasudevam Sarvamiti. That Vasudeva is the source of everything. So Krishna wants to say, I'm proud of my father actually. He is pure devotee. He is Vasudeva, I am Vasudeva. So we have, Krishna wants to say, I'm person, you know. I have my father. And he defeats here also impersonalism. He said, I'm the person, I'm the source of everything. And I'm proud that I came in Vasudeva lineage, you know. So everything has purpose. We can see also in other examples how sometimes the child is called after the father. For example, Drupada has Draupadi. So they were proud. Big King Drupada is my father. So that's why she was named Draupadi. Or King Revata. King Revata has son. He named him Kakudmi, but many people call him Raivata, the son of Revata. And Raivata was father of whom? Of Revati, yes. Revata, Raivata, and Revati. Revati was wife of Balaram. Yeah. So they were proud of that lineage. And Krishna also he glorifies here not just his father of lineage, but he's glorifying also the process of devotional service. He likes his devotees, and that's one of the big feature of Krishna. So that's how Prabhupada discovered us this knowledge. Prabhupada said, I didn't discover anything, I just repeated what Krishna says. But actually the fact is that many authors came before Prabhupada and no one became devotee. In the West there was more than 700 renditions of Bhagavad Gita, but no one became devotee. Just imagine if you want to propagate vegetarianism and you make book about vege cookbook, and everyone reads, many people bought, but no one cook vegetarian meal. Then what's the point, you know? This is interesting book. Yeah, it's interesting, but it's meant for another thing. So similar, this Bhagavad Gita also is not just interesting book. It's actually meant to transform, not just on the level of information, but on the level of transformation. It's meant to transform heart of living being. And after Prabhupada gave us this Bhagavad Gita as it is, so many people became devotees. And actually, if we think about Bhagavad Gita, this title, Bhagavad Gita as it is, it's heavy title actually. Just imagine in one street everybody is selling, let's say, cheese. And then you put on your stall the title cheese as it is. You know, what will other think? You know, what's then this? What's this? You know, because that cheese on other stalls are mixed with mashed potatoes. You know that the taste is almost the same. They mix it with cooked potatoes. You put it 10-20% potatoes is cheap, then it tastes like cheese, and you sell potatoes like cheese. Or they put it water in milk. You put it 10%, no one will understand. And you sell water for milk. Or in my country, I don't know for Germany, but in my country, they put it water in fuel. And then if they are too much greedy, then in the middle of the highway, your car is starting to, going like this. Happened to my father. So like that. And this title is telling us, this is unadulterated knowledge, it's as it is. Prabhupada gave us as it is. And in some cases, because sometimes these authors who gave Bhagavad Gita, but no one became devotee, sometimes they were famous worldly people. So it was difficult to say, he is bogus. But Prabhupada gave indirectly, he said, you see, here is, Krishna said, you have to surrender unto me. But in purport, the author said, it's not that we have to surrender to Krishna, but some impersonal, unborn energy in his heart, something like that, that was President of India said in his purport of Bhagavad Gita. And then some Indians became disturbed because devotees didn't repeat Prabhupada's words, but they said by name, such and such president said, devotees said that Dr. Radhakrishnan is fool. He became very upset. Then one Indian gentleman came to Prabhupada and he was in angry mood. He said, how they can say? They say that you said that Dr. Radhakrishna is a fool. How you can say that? He was angry very at Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, whoever tells something which I didn't tell, then he is a fool. Then gentleman was pacified. They chat a little bit. Then Prabhupada said to devotee, please give me this Bhagavad Gita of Dr. Radhakrishnan. Then devotee gave and said, Prabhupada said, read the purport. You see, Krishna said, surrender unto me. And Dr. Radhakrishna said, it is not that we have to surrender to Krishna, but to energy inside him. He said, that's why we say he is a fool. After he pacified the gentleman, then he again strike in the middle. That was Prabhupada. And for the end, we have to have intelligence to understand Krishna, to understand Gita, to understand Guru. And then that intelligence starts with submissiveness, with humble attitude, that we accept that we are not knowledgeable, we do not know Gita, we do not know Krishna, we do not know Guru, and that we are open for whatever they say. It is not said that we have to accept things blindly. Yeah, there is room for intelligence, there is room for logic, but some things will be beyond our experience. As Brahma said, these energies are beyond my experience. Some things has to be accepted. And Prabhupada always encouraged in the same time that we should apply our intelligence while reading these books, while analyzing, while scrutinizing these books. Otherwise we are just blind followers or animals. So we should accept. And Prabhupada on other hand said also, whoever accepts that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is Jnanavan Mam Prapande. He is not fool, he is Jnanavan, he is knowledgeable person. But he simultaneously encouraged that we should apply our intelligence to understanding this vast knowledge. For the end, I will tell, just reading about Prabhupada in Australia, one thing how one foolish news reporter misunderstood Prabhupada. So when Prabhupada came to Melbourne, he was explaining that if living being is not careful enough, if he is not acting as Krishna's servant, then next time he can be born as animal. That was the point. So the next day, there are many news reporters and some were accurately transferring what Prabhupada said. But one title was, the Hare Krishna Guru said that he will be born as animal in next life, And devotees were very disturbed, and immediately one devotee frantically was writing demand to newspaper, And Prabhupada was laughing. He said, I was telling philosophy that you can be born as animal, but he took it as I can be born as animal. And the next day, Prabhupada was repeating the same point in the lecture. And he said, we should be careful, otherwise we can be born as animal. And all devotees were thinking about that article because it was fresh. And then just Prabhupada said, the animal didn't understand anything. And all devotees laughed, because that was referring to this news reporter. For the conclusion, thanks for your attention. I would encourage all devotees that apply intelligence, read deeply these books. Sometimes it's needed to read many times, but the most important is guidance from the Guru, guidance from the older devotees, and talking about philosophy. And then sometimes while churning this nectar, some things just pop up which we are not aware that they are inside. And that's why it's said in Bhagavad Gita, devotees always like to Kirtaniya Sadahari, always like to glorify Krishna, and this is part of glorifying. Krishna said in 18th chapter also, who analyzes this knowledge with intelligence, that's also worshipping me. So thank you very much. Maybe someone has some nectar to share.
I have a question. Thank you, Prabhu, for the class. I wanted to ask, in your experience, or what do you use as methods to see, because you spoke about different ways of seeing Bhagavad Gita and all these divine texts, that they have different layers. So what is your way to approach it, so to also be able to see it from different angles, Bhagavad Gita, for example?
It's important to take guidance from others, as I said, and once I read from one older devotee, note that while studying Holy Scriptures, we should have imaginary pot. So whatever we find some nectar, we put it in that pot. So that means notes, you know. So wherever I find something which is very interesting, I put in my notes. And then later when I discuss with other devotees, they add something, so from different sources. And then you can have whole pictures. Sometimes Prabhupada said one thing about one, on another occasion he said completely another different thing about that. And sometimes even can seem contradictory, you know, that means then we have to think, it seems contradictory, how I will resolve this, you know. And then with the guidance of Guru, if not clear, I ask then all the devotees, and then gradually, you know, picture is there. Well, for example, Prabhupada once said someone led bhajan, and before Hare Krishna he said bhaja. Bhaja means in Hindi sing. We say sometimes sing, or sometimes we can see someone say also sing. And he was singing Bhaja Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Bhaja Hare. So Prabhupada heard on the top floor, you know, and he immediately sent Harikesh Swami to stop the kirtan, you know. He said, this is concoction, this is something new, manufactured, why he is doing that? He should sing Hare Krishna, you know. And then he stopped kirtan, and the devotee start to sing Hare Krishna, you know. So 1 year after that incident, similar things happen in India, and someone was singing Bhaja Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Harikesh said, I was trying to catch Prabhupada's eyes, but he didn't look at me, you know. I was waiting, you know, to stop kirtan, but he didn't look, you know. And I was confused. Then I went later to his room and asked, Prabhupada, he sing this which is not authorized, Bhaja Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. He said, at least he's singing, better that he's singing that thing than cinema song. So I was thinking, how is that? Then he explained, Harikesh, because in first instance there were just devotees there. But in India, it was some sympathizers, you know, who are not so strict. So he was more lenient in that. He encouraged them, actually. And sometimes we can see that Prabhupada in one incident was cutting and said, this should be standard, but in others he was lenient and wanted to gradually elevate person to right standard. That didn't mean that Prabhupada compromised standard, that he said both can be sing. He just tried to gradually elevate another person. And then when we analyze like that, then it's tasteful, you know. You know better Prabhupada, you know better philosophy, and you can see some problem with different angles, you know, like that. But the most important is to discuss also with another experienced devotees. And if we are thinking that we are the most experienced, then we have a problem. Like that, we cannot know. Never we cannot know Krishna. Brahma said, I don't know Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Can I say something?
We have 4 minutes before Gora Arati starts.
I just want to say that Bhagavad Gita is my most favorite book. But when I first time I was on university and when I first time read Bhagavad Gita, I was excellent in the school and also in university. I was thinking, what is this? I will read this very. Somebody when he actually gave me this book, he told me it's not so easy book. Try to understand because it's quite high philosophy. And when I start, I was waiting, and till the end I conclude. I was waiting that war will start, and then on the end I conclude this will be not book about war. They are prepared themselves for war, but this is only some discussion and no war, because I'm expecting some book about
Excellent.
war, and there is also picture about war, and on the end I have to say myself, I'm stupid, I didn't understand anything, and I was a little bit shy. What is this? Because I was thinking about myself that I'm quite smart person, and on the end I was completely defeated. What is this? I didn't understand anything. And then I try to, I feel shame to tell him that I didn't understand, because I was his girlfriend and I was thinking, oh my God, I have to put some more energy to understand at least something. And then I read again, and this second time I read with more humble attitude. And then I was thinking, I'm so stupid. I have to understand a little bit. And then I catch something. And during the life, I read this book many times. I don't know how much and how much time. I don't know. I forget how many times. Yeah. And then what is my attitude when I read Bhagavad Gita? Prabhupada in some verses he's tried to explain something, and then he just mentioned in the purport like this is similar like in 240. And then I look for 240. This is Neha Bikramana Shoste. That is it. And then Prabhupada on so many places he just mentioned some other book and some other scriptures like Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Haribhakta Vilasa, Nectar of Devotion. And when we read Bhagavad Gita, it's not. It's like in the school. I take same process like in the university. I have few books like for pathophilosophy. Anyway, some medical. It's not. It's not. How to say? Sufficient that you read only one book. You have to have so many books about same matter, and you in your head you have more places. You put all information in other place, but on the end you combine all this, and then you get very
Complete picture.
Yeah, complete picture. That's my
Jai.
experience about Bhagavad Gita.
Hare Krishna. So now we will have a complete picture of the Lord. Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Boo.